Alright, guys, we are back. It's been a while since I've cast one of these. It is, of course, another episode of Diamond in the Rough, where we see one of the most creative Terran players out there apparently running into someone who's recognized him. This is, of course, Storm Gaming's Ruff. In the bottom left, in the red of Hardwire's opponent, Protoss. Says, do crazy stuff, please. I am ready. My body is ready. Ruff throws some hearts out there. Protoss says, good luck, have fun, Bratan. Love from the Ukraine. Not sure what Bratan means, brother? I don't know. Some sort of kind words, I believe. I know that in the Russian-speaking audience, Ruff is pretty huge. I know that there's been quite a few Russian people coming over to my YouTube and watching, but I know a lot of them, of course, have been watching Alex. Of course, the lovely Alex 007. One of the great StarCraft YouTube casters out there. Casting his games for quite a while. I don't know if he was casting those even before I started casting them or not, but I know Alex loves that kind of creative and different strategies, so lots of fans out there of Ruff and all the things he brings out. I mean, his opponents even called for it here and said, hey, my body is ready, do the crazy stuff. So does this change how Ruff plays? I don't know. For now, he's going out with an early SCV scout, which is, of course, I think a super smart idea. When someone shows that they know who you are, they're expecting weird things, they might just cheese you. A lot of players, when they're playing a known player, they play someone who's known to be creative, they just want to rush that player before that player gets to make the game weird and kind of get momentum and put the known player on the back foot, especially if they're a streamer. Maybe catch them off guard when they're busy talking to their chat, when they're not kind of paying 100% attention, get a bit of momentum, and that can work out. So both players scouting and quick nexus, and even quicker command center, of course, here for Ruff. Ruff, no micro. Oh, he missed that. I mean, he should be able to kill the probe, but nice micro from Protoss, and Ruff could have saved that, just didn't quite respect it as much as he should have. Marine does get revenge there. And this SCV coming home, Protoss forgetting about this probe. Got to pull that home, buddy. And Protoss does do so just in time. Protoss has forgotten... No, second pylon's down. The second gas was very late there. You can see these probes having to just wait for that one to finish. Nonetheless, Stargate and Adept coming down very quickly, skipping the warp gate for now. And Ruff going double gas after that expand. So one of his favored builds in this matchup, just get a bunker with 4 Marines in it. That defends most of the early pressures from the very first few units. And the question is from there, do we see a couple of siege tanks? Sometimes we see Mass Hellion come out of him, sometimes Hellion Ghost. Or will he change it up and maybe do something like a Widow Mine drop or something like that? Protoss says, did you do math? He's like, how are you so smart with your Terran plays? Did you do the numbers? This is, of course, a common misconception that you need to be intelligent to play StarCraft. You can be a complete donkey. And as long as you click things fast and you copy what players who are smarter than you have already figured out in terms of fundamentals, learn your transitions, get some intuitive understanding of what's going on, you should be pretty alright. Protoss saying, you know, I studied math in university a lot, and apparently that allowed him to crunch the numbers and say, this is going to be a worthwhile trade. I'm not so sure. I thought the Ukraine was known for being very good with math, but I think in this case, a bit of a miscalculation. Protoss does lose that Adept, doesn't even get the SCV kill, but does force that to be raised. That SCV bugs out a bit. Ruff, hopefully he notices that SCV couldn't get down while that was raised, and so as a result, the SCV stuck there on the high ground. We've got an Oracle out, Twilight Council, and a Forge as well. And are we going to go for a quick third base? Yeah, this is how you counter Ruff. Protoss knows, hey, a player who's going super tech heavy on 2 base, take a quick third, explode economically, and get my options up. The Oracle, of course, a great starting tool. You know what would be really cool is if he EMPs the Oracle, it can't shoot. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Go, Ruff. Go. Oh, Ruff a little slow to respond here. So already 1 SCV goes down, make it 2, and the EMP saves that 3rd SCV. And the Oracle has to just get out of there. Very nicely done. Super sick. I love it how, like, that just occurred to me in the moment. But Ruff, you know, the moment he saw the Oracle, he's like, I know, like, he's like, of course that's what I do. I've done this many times before. I'll do it many times again. Now, we've seen this wall off. Oh my god, what map was it? It was one of the older maps, right? I can't even remember what map it was, but I remember the first time we saw this wall off from Ruff a few years ago, and I absolutely love it. And the idea is he knows that he's kind of weak against Blink Stalkers, blinking in the base and running around. But if they blink up this ledge, they're going to be stuck behind this wall. Now, technically, they could slide through these holes at the moment, but even that's going to be really awkward. If you blink 8 Stalkers up and they've got to move through single file, and especially if he gets a tank or 2 up behind it later on, it's going to be really, really hard for the Protoss to use Blink to take advantage of him. Now, in this case, that's not going to be really a concern. Protoss has gone for double Oracle. He's going charge. He's thinking about +1 with the Forge in the near future, probing up a third base pretty well. So just lots of raw fighting power and good scouting as well. As the Ghosts start to clear out that buildable plate. Oracle will come in for a little bit of harassment. Let's see how quick Ruff responds here. Protoss Oracle coming in, turns on its laser beam, gets a damaged SCV, a second one. And gotta watch out. Oh, that's a dead Oracle, I think. Oh, yes, he gets it. Barely on the edge of the range there. So you know what? 6 SCVs have died this game. It's not bad, but I gotta say, Protoss has not been hitting that probe key quite as hard as maybe could have. And for such a mineral-focused build order, it feels to me like Protoss is gonna have to go for some sort of big bust. Unless Protoss takes a quick fourth in the next maybe minute or so, I think the play here would be get a Warp Prism and try to slide that in the back and do a big Zealot Warp into the main while swinging in on the front. Oh, Ruff, you're not actually playing Mass Ghost. He's going +1 weapons. This is the Mass Ghost build. He's going to have tanks to anchor it, so he's building tanks one at a time just as a safety unit, and he's just going to try and go Mass Ghost. This is such a silly build order, but so beautiful if it works. And it's all going to come down to, can the opponent adjust to a completely different game plan to what they normally play? This is not going to be, oh yeah, you just build units, do your normal thing. No, you need to adapt. You need to make sure you've got detection everywhere. You got to make sure you watch out for him sniping the observers. There's an Oracle for detection. There's 2 observers for detection. There's also a cannon in each base. I mean, he's well defended. I don't think anything gets in here. Maybe snipe off some units and then just leave. So this could still be an efficient poke for Ruff, but you don't want to lose these ghosts. You've spent all game building these 9 ghosts. He kills the Karak. That's bad luck. You should never kill the Karak. Snipes. I wouldn't mind snipes on these Zealots. He runs in and just shoots the observer. I wouldn't mind some snipes on these Zealots, to be honest. Another observer comes in. EMP on it. Oh, EMP, bro. Oh, no, if he gets revelated, he's dead. He gets revelated. So even killing the observer, he's going to die to the Zealots. Oh, this is a mistake. A huge mistake for Ruff there. Didn't realize there was still an Oracle on the map, and this is such a good trade for the Protoss player, dude. Bringing up that unit's lost in the top left, just so you guys can kind of track. Oh, EMPs before going down. But yeah, look at the units lost. Got 2 observers, a couple Zealots, 8 ghosts. Oh, really bad trade. And this is always the problem with ghost builds, guys. If they have good detection that can hunt you down, in this case, it was the Oracles from earlier in the game. He should have been wary of. The Oracle is such good mobile detection against this. And look at that, guys. 4th base, 5th base, both going down for Protoss. Is going to add the gases as well. The only question I have is, does Protoss know how to play against late game? Because that's obviously what Ruff is going to be heading for, a really sick late game comp. Eventually. The only problem for Ruff is it takes him so long to get there. And he's only at 47 SCVs. He stalls out for such a long time on 2 base. And at this point, it looks like he's doubting whether ghosts are going to cut it. I mean, I know he's short on gas right now, is Ruff. But it feels like he's not continuing ghost production. Is he maybe going to swap into factories or starports? He's building turrets to stop Warp Prisms getting in on that left side and on the right. Very wise. 3rd base is wide open, though. Honestly, even just 30 Zealots could run in and kill this. And there's already 17 Zealots out. Protoss player going into Colossus charge. This is a very basic composition. If Ruff was doing any sort of Liberator harass or dropping here or there, there's nothing that shoots up for the Protoss player. So really good countering of Ruff's immobile style by the Protoss. Does need to get that repair going, and a few of these fresh mules will go down, so it's not the worst trade. Since Protoss is on 5 base, even just killing a few mules for Zealots is actually totally worth it, because all that matters right now is outscaling your opponent. What do I mean by that? I mean, you can probe off 5 Nexi right now and get way ahead. I mean, these Zealot attacks are still pretty piss weak. Gets a siege tank there. Almost gets a ghost with tank-friendly fire. It's still not great trades, cost for cost. That was like, what, a few mules and a tank for about 14 Zealots. But the thing is, Protoss can do that all day. So as long as Protoss maybe goes up to 85 workers, stops there, and then just goes for one big giant attack, I don't see how Ruff can ever defend that. And this is always kind of what I point out as the one potential weakness of Ruff styles is, I mean, yes, tanks are good. Yes, ghosts are very good. But you're going to need perfect positioning. And how do you ever defend this 3rd base? I mean, he's going to have to wall this off and get a wedge of tanks here. But even then, what if they come into the natural? It's so hard for him to defend. So does he put a wedge of tanks there, there, and there? Maybe? He's only got 1 siege tank right now. 1 siege tank and 9 ghosts does not an army make. Protoss, though, no Warp Prism, no forward warp in pylons. So this is still a bit of a janky army from Protoss. Protoss has a lot of money. but he's only on 6 gateways. So you can see the Protoss player here getting very horny. Ruff realizing how low on units he was. He actually threw a Ruff defensive nuke in his natural. But check it out, guys. Whoa! Sorry, guys. We accidentally just pressed a fast forward and a rewind button. And what just happened? What? Is this... Okay. Let's find out what Okay. All right, guys, sorry, we just had a little bit of a glitch there in the replay. So just resuming the cast now. Looks like Protoss will back off with that army. And you got to see here, check it out, guys. We've got building armor, cloak, 1-1 upgrades, all there for Ruff. So he's got a little bit of upgrades for the Ghost, but he's also got these building upgrades that will make it a lot harder to break through. And Colossus aren't really the answer to anything. They're okay versus the Ghost, but Ghosts aren't light. So remember, the Colossus do only do 2 11 damage attacks to the Ghost. It's not that much. It's nowhere near the 2 times 17 versus Marines. We will see a Fleet Beacon. Tempest, of course, a great way to kill a turtling player. He just doesn't have anything that can deal with Tempest right now. But I do wonder, what do you do with this giant supply lead? And do you know how to deconstruct a Terran who is just so turtly? We've got an extra factory and a new barracks building as well. Looks like you might want to even up the Ghost production even more. So Ghosts are going to wreck Zealots. They're going to be able to take the shields off anything else. Their damage is not amazing, but not terrible versus other units. They can fight just about anything front on. It's just you don't have that many of them right now. Going to attack into a planetary. Protoss here, not a good angle of attack. And does have to back off and rotate around looking for a new angle. The natural and this fourth are both wide open right now. But Protoss has not found those angles and is not really using these oracles to scout the setup. Notice, guys, we've still got next to no siege tanks. Only 3 tanks for Ruff, a pack of Ghosts, and that's it. But look at that. Oh, he's losing the observers and oracles to the missile turrets. And look at this. If he can get rid of that other oracle, then he can do it. Protoss says turrets versus A-click. IMBA. Okay, Protoss a little bit self-aware at how much he's screwing the pooch right now. But you know what? This is so important because this is the point where I said Ruff has no units. He can't really secure a 4th base. He somehow managed to do it with just static defense and building upgrades. Now he's swapping into double armory upgrades, EMP. And you know, it's so funny, right? Because you got a guy like Florencio who never makes upgrades. Basically, very rarely. And then you get a guy like Florencio who I would argue is on the other side of the spectrum where it's like, there's too many upgrades, dude. Like, you do need to actually max out at some point. You know, you do need to get an army. Otherwise, this guy's going to be able to overwhelm you. But looks like Protoss thinks multi-prong's going to help out. And against planetaries and so on, mixing your stalkers up, it's not going to work. If he blinks in and focuses the tanks, it'll be good. But if he just A moves, I don't think it'll do much. And look at this. He attacks around a corner. The Colossus lagging really far behind. Protoss attacks here, looking really sloppy. Not really knowing how he can dismantle the mech player. He's a bit afraid by it. And remember we said multi-prong is not what you do against a guy who's built planetary fortresses. Unless you manage to slide a prism along the bottom into the back. You want to just bring your army in, smash through the middle. Bring your army in, smash through this base. But it's mostly Colossus. And Colossus, as I said, one of the worst units versus mech. You'd rather have Immortals because they can bust through buildings. Carriers are coming out 4 at a time though. That's going to be a problem for Ruff. Ghosts can gun down interceptors, but it's dicey. If there's enough carriers out, you're going to really struggle. Stalkers running back and forwards, and Protoss here unsure how to deal with a player who turtles. And this is so common, even at GM. You get players like this who they just look a little bit lost when the Terran just locks things down and sits there. So I reckon Protoss is a great defensive player. I reckon if the Terran pushes out, engages that really confidently, looks great. But right now, with a Ruff that's content to just sit there, lock things down, build up the defenses, we're seeing, you know, Protoss is like, what the hell do I do here, man? Will that SCV set off that stasis trap? I think if it goes to there, it will set off the stasis trap. Mass Stalker Colossus, one of the worst armies for this, and it looks like these stasis traps are just running out of time. So yeah, that's just going to expire. Even gets shot down as these other turrets finish. Tanks are now sieged there. More Zealots going in a few at a time. Colossus coming in as well. Protoss with one of the sloppiest engagements I've seen. I don't mind this because it's out of tank range for now, but the moment those Colossus go in tank range, they take big damage. And even more units are just running into those observers. Definitely feels like we've got a bit of F2 going on, right? There's only one army group. It's only the Stalkers. Everything else is being F2'd by Protoss. Protoss here wants to move these Protoss units to victory, but Ruff, mass turrets and tanks, going to do very well versus this. 3 tanks on sieging, not a good timing for that. But look at that, EMP comes in, the Ghosts are just slaughtering. The EMPs are going to soften everything. The tanks will deal with the Colossus quite well. The Interceptors have already almost all gone down. Protoss going for a sloppy engage once again into the strongest point of Protoss, of Terran defenses, and is building only carriers. Remember what I said, guys, Tempest hard counter this army. Whenever you've got a Terran pinned back, turtling on tank Ghost, Tempests are one of the best ways to deal with it. Talked about this 2 years ago. I remember parting versus TY on not Dust Towers, Nightshade? Nightshade, the map we're in late game. TY just turtled tank Ghost and parting fell apart. Had a lot of pros say you can't do that, Tempests aren't good, Tempests aren't good. I said, guys, Tempests aren't usually good. If the Terran is sitting with tanks and Ghosts, Tempests are the greatest unit in the game. You don't mass them. You get like 5 of them, enough to one-shot a siege tank, one-shot Ghosts. You just start chipping away at them and you force them to attack into you. The big problem Protoss has right now is the Ghost count's growing, tank count's growing. There's no Psystorm. There's no Disruptors. And imagine how good, when Ruff does push, you're going to wreck this army if you can get splash damage onto it. And you always want some splash damage, some Storms or some Disruptors on the Ghosts. Going to force them to spread to run. And that means they can't stand their ground and gun down those Interceptors. Now, that being said, Protoss has still got the entire map to himself. And as much as Protoss hasn't taken any of these opportunities and is allowing Ruff to max out, does it really matter if you've got this much of the map and this much money? Protoss on 87, 86 workers. It's taking the middle bases. If he moves through the middle, there's nothing there except Ghosts. Right now, though, Protoss is having a real confidence issue with pushing into these areas, and running observers into missile turrets continues to be a problem. Of course, we can see Protoss not knowing how to use control groups. Those observers should all be right-clicked on a carrier, and he should be moving a control group around, not the F2. Once again, goes for a big old A move. The tanks are slaughtering Ruff with a beautiful wall of defenses. And the turrets are just smashing face against those Interceptors. And look at this dude. He could even hunt down the carriers now because there's, like I said, no splash damage on the ground. There's like 1 Archon and 1 Colossus left. The Ghosts, though, may be going a bit too far forward. There are still some Interceptors. But, guys, also keep in mind there's only +1 air attack. Soon it's going to be +3 air armor. +2 air attack is on the way. But it's just mass carriers. And each time those Interceptors die, yeah, it's pretty cheap to rebuild them. But it does cost you something. Mass carrier is honestly not a bad army in a lot of situations, but it's definitely not the most pristine. And for Protoss, I really appreciate that you're a Ruff fan. You seem like you played your macro Sage really well, but in terms of attacking, super sloppy. And composition late game, really, really Protoss. It's all I could say, guys. This is like not what a real Protoss player does, it's what a Protoss meme does. I don't know if this is Protoss' off race or not, but mass carrier is like lol 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 lol. Does actually kill a lot of the turrets, but the Ghosts come forward, kill a lot of the Interceptors. The Archons kill a missile turret and damage a planetary. Definitely not worth it. The units lost tab 2.5 to 1 right now in this game, and Ruff is feeling very happy with that. He's just going to keep building these turrets. How often do we see Ruff secure 5 bases? Very rarely in his games, but he's managed to do it here, and he's now adding air upgrades. Is he going to swap BCs? He's going Tech Lab Starports. No Fusion Core yet on that building tab up the top, but I think he wants to go that. I mean, I don't think Banshees make sense. Battle Cruisers are great because you can Yamato down the carriers from afar. They get insane efficiency all the time. Carriers are going to come on in here. Ghosts fighting these Interceptors, and ooh-wee. Okay, we've got units running on the left as well, but once again, it's just Archons. If they were shift-clicked on the SCVs, this might work. If there were Zealots targeted on the tanks, it would be efficient. And he does actually kill a couple of SCVs before going down, but Archon's one of the weakest units to be using as run-bys. At this point, imagine if 15 Blink DTs blinked in, killed the tanks, killed the planetary. That would be huge. Yes, Ghosts could go and deal with that. Speaking of which, 38! 38 Ghosts? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, versus what? Now he's building Tempests. Okay, so the Tempests will be good for picking off the Ghosts from afar, but the problem is the Ghosts can just run underneath, EMP the Tempests, and kill them. So, I mean, carriers are kind of okay versus that, but their Interceptors are also going to be getting gunned down pretty hard. At this point, you need Storm or Disruptors. You might think Storm's not great versus Ghosts. It's not great if you let them get EMP, but if you keep them spread around and you kind of bait the Ghosts forward, you can drop zoning Storms, and you can also use things like Storm Drop. There's no answer to Storm Drop for Ruff right now. There's no Vikings, no super long-ranged anti-air. So when he comes out to fight your Tempests, that would be huge, but we can see that Protoss just doesn't want to make spellcasters, hasn't made a single spellcaster other than the Oracle this entire game. And look at that, he's just going to go forward and A-move the Interceptors down. Run! Protoss, you've got no Interceptors, mate. You've got no firepower on those carriers. Time to leave. The Ghosts say, get fucked, Mr. Protoss. Multiple carriers go down. The Ghost just man-moding that one. That was awesome. Archon's down here. Once again, the Archon run, but I get it. Protoss is just trying to spend the gas bank here. Also wanted to start mining out some of the bases on Ruff's side of the map, but this cost of inefficiency is just out of this world, and you can't just be using F2 A move at Grandmaster League, not against a guy who's as precise as Ruff. Ruff, yes, he's just got one big control group of Ghosts, but he's using them very well. He does lose a command center there. Turret's once again going to fight against this, and Protoss just keeps attacking the exact same angle. I believe someone out there, what's the quote? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, that kind of is what Protoss is doing right now, is attacking the same angle where the vast concentration of Ruff's defenses are. He has a few turrets on the left, a few on the bottom. Doesn't have any defenses here. This is a wide open angle which he could deny, not scouting it, not going up the guts in the natural where there's no defenses right now, no disruptors, no storm, and Protoss here is going to try and mine out the base. So in terms of forward-taking bases, mining out resources on Ruff's side of the map, A+. In terms of actually choking Ruff out of the game, not really. He's letting Ruff create a strong point up the front and then expand around that. And it's these expansions against the turtle player you should not be letting happen. Ruff secured that with 2 tanks and a bunch of SCVs essentially, and he's been allowed to do it. These Tempests also not using that 10 anti-ground range to siege this. Ghost guys are a 6-range unit for those who don't know. The Tempests massively outrange them, but Protoss only knows how to use the army as one big A-move control group, and that's why he's just kind of A-moving into turrets, and that's it. And it's like, dude, you can't be doing that. Notice how rough they're EMP'd even on the Interceptors. Of course, the Interceptors have, I believe, 40 hit points, 40 shields. They're actually not too soft. They're quite tanky, but if you EMP them, that's obviously going to severely weaken them. Does see the Ghost on the edge there. Tempest could easily pick that off. Easy pick off there for Protoss, but he goes forward. The Ghost could kill that carrier. They get one. Kill a carrier there. Some of the medevacs taking some damage as well. One of those goes down. But once again, Protoss struggling with the unit control here. There we go. Now the Tempests are starting to see. Even there, though, you can see the Tempests don't have their own control group, so they have to be manually selected every time. This actually hurts my soul. Guys, if there is one person I do not want to put in the ring with Ruff in this situation, it's someone who doesn't know how to use control groups properly. So Ruff, honestly, I think he's having so much fun right now, realizing that, oh, dude, I can just expand forward, and like at some point, you're going to overstep into my mass 3/3 Ghost, and I am going to EMP you and rip your head off. This is so sick. I've never seen someone with 41 Ghosts all at one time before. He's got 77 SCVs, so I do think Ruff wants to trade some of those SCVs out. He is a bit oversaturated. Where are they all? Oh, there they are. 30 workers on that base. 11 out of 6 on that base. Oh, here we go, guys. New Harass starting to come in. That one's just going to clear out the cannon so we can get in deeper. Great pro pull by Protoss. Like I said, Protoss is really good at some stuff. Like, really, really good, but not good at finding nice attack angles. Nuke, nuke. And with the army control, that's the big issue. So, man, I still... Oh, this is sick. Protoss is going to recall into the main. The missile turrets will kill the mothership if it... probably, but it'll get the recall off. So he's going to recall his army onto the production of Ruff. This could be a game winner. This is going to happen at the same time as he's getting nuked, though, and that's actually quite stressful. So it looks like you won't be watching. He flies in, and he runs away from a single missile turret. Cowardice! Go for it, Protoss. Don't be a sissy. Go for it. Oh, first nuke does manage to land there, guys. And, of course, that Ghost on 22 kills now. This Ghost over here, not even cloaked. The Archons should be able to deal with that. And these Ghosts... He's changed his Ghost skin, by the way, hasn't he? Oh, yeah, he changed to the Spec Ops. I think this is the Spec Ops Ghost. He was using the blue-haired Ghost for quite a while. Recall on the left side of the map! Oh, okay. Oh, my God, one of the carriers dies instantly to those missile turrets. most of them should die, but the ghosts are here. And those, oh my god, he's clicking the planetary. Protoss has already lost 2 carriers and almost all of his interceptors. He's down to 30 interceptors. Protoss teleporting in on top of mass missile turret and just getting annihilated by ghosts. Oh my god. Oh my god, the whole point is to go into the main over the turrets and blink on the production. Protoss attack angles have just been appalling this game. And Ruff is having an absolute party. Mass Archon run by again. But notice that Ruff does pull a bunch of the SCVs away, so they're not clumped up. The planetary will eventually deal with that. Mass goes planetary pushing forward. Another nuke up there. And he's going to start killing these bases. It's still just mass carrier. Protoss wants to A-move his way to victory. No disruptors, no storm. Heck, I wouldn't even mind zealots coming in here to join in with the carriers, just so you've got multiple units coming in at once. Tempests and probes trying to clear out those missile turrets, but this army looking very exposed. Those ghosts are going to go for it, man. And Ruff's going to go for it. I'm surprised he's not cloaked right now. He's just A-moving, so he's trying to kill the interceptors. He's going to EMP, though, and that means you've got no shields. Oh, my God. Oh my god, Protoss is just getting absolutely wrecked trying to build an A-move army, allergic to casting spells up against a guy with expert ghost usage. Ruff here, better than 2-to-1 units lost efficiency. He's lost 24 ghosts this game for 17 carriers, 4 Tempests, 8 Colossus, 25 Archons. I mean, that is just absolutely out of this world. The ghosts will come forward, like I said, not the greatest damage versus armored units. They could depower these 2 pylons. They could stop these carriers popping out. I don't know if they want to. They might just want to kill these carriers as they pop. Get right on top of them. Look at that, guys. Does he get it? EMPs. 1 carrier is going to fall. Another carrier might fall as well. Oracle's coming in. Mass Zealots are going to come in. I said, hey, I wouldn't mind even Zealots. The Ghost will try to fall back to a bit of a choke point where the Zealots can't really fight. That's the way to do it. EMPs all over them. Look how fast these Zealots are dying. Oh my god, Protoss, pull back, dude. Attacking into a choke point like a rabid dog, just baited in there was Protoss. And this here is just shows you can have good macro fundamentals, you can have great ability to expand and control the early game like Protoss did. Mom, pick me up, I'm scared. But if you don't know how to micro these big fights, if you're just a bit sloppy with the engagements, then there's so many cool things that you can do to improve. And Ruff, the guy who felt massively behind in the mid game, is going to come back with that trademark efficiency, a double nuke in the main. Oh, he's EMPing the buildings so that they die to the nukes. What a Chad. Oh, still money in the bank. Protoss is trying to rebuild. He's finally going disruptors. Finally, the stubborn guy is trying to make disruptors, guys. Wouldn't it be sick if he comes and just kills like 15 ghosts with his first ball? He's gonna hope Ruff isn't looking. He's hoping Ruff isn't looking. He's hoping Ruff isn't looking. Surprise! Not bad, not bad. Does get 6 ghosts on the first shot, but hasn't started rebuilding those robos elsewhere. And his carriers are once again moving into missile turret range, which is just so dope. Get out of there! He's losing carriers to missile turrets almost. Oh my god. Oh, this is hilarious. And Ruff's still just like, I'm just gonna keep making ghosts, dude. I've got 37 ghosts again. I'm back up in the numbers. I'm feeling good. Still, the natural is wide open. He could just run Zealots in and raid Ruff's production so well. But Protoss has not been able to find those openings. He's going Mass Archon right now, which is about the worst thing you could ever build versus Ghost. Ghosts hard counter Archons because 97% of an Archon's hit points are shields. They have 10 hit points, 350 shields, which of course is rather horrendous. Against Ghosts, which can just drop 3 AMPs on them and knock them out. It might only be 300 shields, actually. We'll check the moment some Archons morph right now. He's trying to come down there. Do we have detection? Protoss does not have any detection. And, oh my god. Oh my god, these units are getting stuck. Oh my god, is he going to lose some of them? On the tail end of that, he might lose. Oh, no, just a couple probes. And Observer's on the way as well. The Ghosts here are having an absolute party. And I think Protoss can't quite understand how he's managed to lose 71,000 resources for 29,000. How? He's been mining out bases in the middle of the map and on the side of Ruff's map, but hasn't been able to do anything with it. Has now rebuilt a Robo. Nuke does go down on the right side. Another couple of probes go down. Stargates in the Nexus getting very weak. These Stargates look like they'll be depowered. Where are the Robos? Disruptors are honestly the secret to victory. There's no answer to Disruptors for Ruff. If you A-move, say, 6 to 8 carriers, and at the same time you've got Disruptors flowing out on top of them, I don't imagine the Ghost can do anything versus that. But as it is, it's 19 High Templar, so he's going to try and... Oh, is he going to mass feedback? He actually doesn't want to make, oh my god, he wants to mass feedback. He wants to feedback every single ghost. Now remember, at full energy, they will die to a feedback. But landing that, I mean, how are you ever going to land that? You need to distract him so he's looking elsewhere and catch him looking away. Oh my god, does he have, okay, he's coming in for it, guys. But remember that Protoss doesn't know how to use his control groups very well. So his observer might lag behind. Oh, there we go. He's sending him in ahead. Yep, this is the way to do it. Look at this. Look at this. Here we go, guys. High Templar. How many feedbacks can he get? Oh, it's a lot of feedbacks. Mass feedback. The EMPs do start to come down in the snipes. And he damages a lot of the ghosts, but doesn't kill that many. And that was pretty damn cool, man. Up to 54 ghosts killed, but the ghosts get to a choke point. The EMP, the Zealots, and the Carriers. The Interceptors die. Look at this. None of the Interceptors get back to the Carriers. When you've got that many ghosts doing 26 damage a shot, they are four-shotting those Interceptors. And Protoss is going to have to tap out. GG, well played. I love the ideas behind finally using Spellcasters at the end of that game. In the end, 999 units lost, 85,000 resources. And that was honestly, look at this tiny set of units that Ruff lost in buildings this game compared to a Protoss who just threw so many Carriers, Zealots, Archons, and only as a last-ditch effort went for the Spellcasters that would have been the secret to success much earlier. GG, well played, Ruff. You've done it again, you absolute savage. Well played, mate. Guys, a quick message from me, which is, if you enjoy the channel and you want to consider supporting, not only can you, of course, turn your ad block off, but hey, if you're using the ad block, screw those ads or anything like that, or you want to go above and beyond because you appreciate the content, check out the Patreon. Link is below. We've just put out new Patreon exclusive merch, which you can get through those tiers. So go click on the Patreon link. It's down in the description here. Here's me just tweeting out the announcement of it. You can get the I love my girlfriend t-shirt. That's all it says. That's all it says. Definitely doesn't say I love it when my girlfriend lets me watch Pig Slap Bacon. We've got a lovely brand new mug that Dot just designed all of these, my wife, by the way. This is probably my favorite, the overpowered mug. Overpowered, the other players race, and of course they are map hacking as well. Glad that my good mate Maynard there enjoyed that one as well. And you can also get yourself a little sticker with one of the lower tiers as well. So guys, please, thank you very much. Those who are already on the Patreon, not only can you get your name on the wall of bacon like we've been doing for a while over here, but we could also get a whole bunch of other rewards, and we've revamped some of the tiers as well. So you guys can get priority access to holdout challenges, to play against players like Scarlet and other top pros that we're going to be getting to playing those in the future, as well as when we're doing viewer tournaments, we're going to have priority if you're on certain tiers for you guys to be the first ones cast in those viewer tournaments. And it doesn't matter your skill level in those because it's open to people of all level. We use a Swiss format, which naturally over the round starts to match you with lower level players if you're lower level and higher level if you're higher level. Guys, thanks for watching. Check out the Patreon. Just links in the description. Have a good night. Appreciate you hanging out for this extra minute. See you next time. Goodbye and good night.